far as India is concerned, yes, indeed, when you see Pakistan's military strategy is a strategy of deterrence. We see what is the threat and from which direction that threat is coming. These days, the threat is from terrorism and extremism. Therefore, all the force possible ought to be used against terrorism and extremism. But if tomorrow a country is telling Pakistan that we need to punish you, we'll go for surgical strikes, we need to teach you a lesson, we need to attack you, what does Pakistan do? It has to use force to ensure its own security. And we must not grudge that. So that is how Pakistan's forces are deployed and the forces and equipment is used. The other element, if the United States was only to confine itself to air bombardment, I think, sir, here the issue is to dominate territory. If you lose the domination of territory, then the Taliban and Al-Qaeda will reign supreme. Air cannot ensure domination of territory. Domination of territory will only come about by forces on land. So therefore, it will be a very big mistake if we were only to confine ourselves to the air.
Assalamu alaikum, and thank you for taking my question. My question is based on the fact that us as humans are all capable and we all make mistakes. So based on that, looking back at the last 10 years, since 1999 when you took over the reins of the country, if you had to do everything all over again, is there anything that you would do differently? Second chances.
Well, let me there was a vast agenda that we followed in 1999 when I saw that Pakistan was almost being declared a failed state and a defaulted state. When I looked at Pakistan, what all has to be done, we formulated an agenda which was all-inclusive, all issues of governance were included, and I had a 7-point plan also. And as I said, I went into this definition of ensuring the security, progress and development of the state, welfare, well-being of its people. And then I converted this into actual actions in various fields. Now what mistakes I made or what I would like to do differently, I think I addressed every issue of Pakistan under the sun. But my failure, if I was to admit, was in the degree of success that maybe I did not achieve. In many areas, I achieved major successes. In some areas, I did not achieve much success. But I did address them. I did make goals and set a strategic direction towards the accomplishment of the goals. So the failure was in moving towards those goals. But I don't think I committed blunders which should not have been done at all. Having said that, yes, indeed, the downfall or the negative started in 2007 when I moved against, I when the government sent a reference against the Chief Justice to me, and I forwarded it to the Supreme Judicial Council. From then onwards, a lawyers' movement got politicized, and that was what then started snowballing into negative effects, etc., and then whatever happened. But if I was to ask whether I did something wrong there, everything that I did was very constitutional and very legal. But when we see the results of what happened, one has doubts. Maybe I shouldn't have done whatever was right even. So that much maybe I will have to admit.
I don't want to discourage. These are both very long lines. We've only got about 10 minutes left, so it's probably 3 or 4 or 5 questions. Those at the end of the line, I don't want to enhance your frustration, but it's very unlikely. So, sir.
I'd like to say that my dad was Joint Secretary for Ministry of Labor in your administration, and Ironically, I was there when you took over, and I was there last year when you resigned as well. I went back to Pakistan after 8 years, and I saw huge differences. And one thing that I saw...
Differences to the better or worse?
I'm addressing that.
Okay.
In the 8 years that I was here, I wanted to go back and I wanted to serve the country. I wanted to live there and all that. When I went back into Islamabad, that's where I went to school, that's where I grew up. I saw so much extremism, so much frustration. I talked to sitting ministers. I talked to my age group, my friends. I went to the villages. I talked to everyone in my village. Anyone I picked up, even from the media, I asked him one question. I was like, would you recommend me moving back to Pakistan and establishing a life here? Everyone said, if you have a chance, don't come back.
When did this happen?
This is last August, at the time you were putting in your resignation.
Okay.
And, which is really ironic. I was really, really sad. And I realized, I was there for a month, I realized that there are so many social problems over there that everyone since 1947 has ignored. And you skipped a lot of the social problems, but I would like you to comment on the social issues, ethics, for example. I hate to admit it, but as Pakistanis in the school system, we have no ethics. The education system, it's based on, whoever gets more marks, and it's ridiculous. That's something that's the basis of a country. In the United States, you go to Massachusetts, where I believe your son went to school as well. I'm not sure, but that's what the word is. But, you go to Stanford and you go to MIT, this is where most of this country's scholars came from, where academia came from. Schools and institutions is where people discuss politics, health, and everything. And this is how discussions happen. We're having this discussion in a school. But you never stress this. You created the Higher Education Commission, which I agree with. It's a great institution. But somewhere along the line, in the last 8 years, people went from being passionate about Pakistan to going where they're so fed up, they want to just be like, okay, we can be a colony of America and just let it be so that we can have a safe environment. And there's no safety.
Okay. Well...